Hi everyone, I'm Ashwin with over 15 years of experience in catastrophe modeling, insurance and reinsurance analytics. Today's topic of discussion is insurer financials and its key aspects. As part of the discussion, we will touch base on the topics discussed in the past. We will understand the various types of premium, total capital and net worth. We will discuss the key insurer profitability metrics such as combined ratio and return on equity. We will review the CAT modeling book based on insurance financials, and towards end, we will review a reinsurance program structure and how it can be linked to policyholder surplus. So let's get the PPT started. These are the topics covered so far, and I have segregated these topics that we have discussed. So we have discussed insurance distribution value chain, where we explained about various players in the insurance value chain, the importance of insurance brokerage, and under reinsurance, we have discussed the reinsurance market size, various reinsurance types such as proportional and excess of loss, traditional programs, alternative reinsurance programs such as cat bonds, collateralized reinsurance, how to design a reinsurance program, introduction to reinsurance pricing, insurer reserves, and the financial statements such as profit and loss statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. And we have also discussed Bermuda insurance market and Lloyd's of London. Let's start our discussion on insurance financials and its key aspects. The key aspect of revenues for an insurer are the premiums. So, a premium is the money paid by an individual or a company for availing an insurance policy. For an insurance company, premium takes two forms: written premium and the earned premium. So, what is written premium? Written premium is the total amount of premium an insurance company receives from policyholders during a specific period, regardless of whether the premium is collected or how much coverage period has passed. As an example, if 10 if 10 customers pay 500 each in the span of a year, written premium will be 5,500 multiplied by 10. And what is earned premium? It refers to the portion of the policy's premium that an insurance company has earned or recognized as revenue for the coverage provided during a specific period. As an example, if a policy with 1,000 premium is issued for an year and 6 months have passed, then earned premium will be 500 and unearned premium will be 500. Now that we know what are written and earned premiums, let's look at their types. There are two types: direct written premium, assumed written premium. What are direct written premiums? So, these are the total amount of premiums issued directly by the insurance company before any deductions such as reinsurance. Assumed premiums written are the premiums an insurer receives from taking on risks from other insurance companies, that is, reinsuring the risks. Note that for insurers, direct premium will be maximum contributor and assumed will be less. But for reinsurers, assumed will be maximum as they reinsure other insurers' exposure. In the insurance financial statement, we often see gross written premium. So the gross written premium is sum of direct and assumed written premium. We have so far seen insurers collecting premiums either directly or by taking on risks from other insurance companies. Insurers do pay premiums to reinsurers to transfer a portion of risks. These are called as ceded return premium. Deducting ceded return premium from sum of direct and assumed premium return is called net return premiums. Earned premium also follows similar template as written premiums in terms of direct assumed and ceded premium earned. This is again an example showing calculation of net premiums written and net premiums earned by subtracting ceded from sum of direct and assumed. You can see net premiums written and earned in profit and loss statement of insurer's annual report. And obviously, the net premium earned will always be less than net premiums written. The next key metric of insurers is their capital resources. It consists of funds deployed or available to be deployed to support business operations. Capital, also known as shareholders' equity or policyholder surplus, is calculated as assets subtracted by liabilities. In this example, the capital is 48.6 billion USD. Total capitalization is the sum of short-term and long-term debt with the capital, which comes to 60.9 billion USD in this example. We have already discussed the premiums and shareholders' equity. Now let's look at the importance of ratios. In the above example, ratio of gross written premium and equity is 0.98 is to 1, and ratio of net written premium and equity is 0.93 is to 1. As per NAIC, which is National Association of Insurance Commissioners, which is the regulatory authority in the US for insurance, gross written premium to equity can be up to 9 is to 1, and net written premium to equity can be up to 3 is to 1. So there is so much leverage that insurers can opt for, but need to be cautious as exceeding this may trigger increased regulatory attention. In our example, we are well below the limit. The next key aspect of insurer metrics is the reserves to surplus ratio. It measures the relationship between an insurer's total reserves and its shareholders' equity. Total reserves consists of loss reserves, unearned premium reserves, and other technical reserves. And shareholders' equity, also known as policyholders' surplus or capital, represents company's net worth, which is assets minus the liabilities. As an example, if insurance reserves are 80 billion USD and its policyholder surplus is 59.5 billion, then the ratio is 1.35. As per the NAIC, a ratio below 200% is acceptable. A ratio exceeding 200% may indicate that an insurer is undercapitalized, has poor reserve estimates, and is also taking too much risk. Let's move on to insurers' key profitability ratios now. We have combined ratio that measures the underwriter profitability of the business, and it is split into loss expense ratio, policy acquisition cost ratio, and administrative expense ratio. What is loss expense ratio? It is losses and loss expenses upon net premium earned. What is policy acquisition cost ratio? It is the policy acquisition cost upon the net premium earned. And administrative expense ratio is administrative expenses upon net premium earned. Note that in this example, the combined ratio is 89.7%. So below 100% indicates underwriter profit. It means that the insurer is collecting more in premiums than it is paying out in claims and operating expenses. And if it is above 100%, it means that and it indicates underwriting loss. The insurer is spending more on claims and expenses than it receives in premium income. The other profitability metric is the return on equity. It is calculated as net income generated upon shareholders' equity. The next section is the catastrophe management. This is very crucial in determining PMLs, purchasing reinsurance accordingly, which will ensure protection against various catastrophes. We obtain PMLs after end to end study and modeling of data using various vendor models. The table shows PML's net of reinsurance for a few written periods. 1 in 100 shows estimate of 4.7 billion USD worldwide annual aggregate loss, and it forms about 9.7 percentage of total capital. So if a 1 in 100 written period scenario were to occur, there is 1% chance that aggregate losses in any year could be in excess of 4.7 billion USD. Here is the reinsurance program structure, and the table shows that initial 500 million is retained by insurer and 4.5 billion reinsurance cover has been purchased in different layers. Going by the previous slide, the reinsurance purchase which stands more than 1 in 100 year event. I picked up the info we discussed in this PPT from the annual reports of the insurers, of many insurers, which contains the detailed info on each of the below and much more. This forms the end of the PPT. Thank you for your valuable time, and please let me know if you have any questions. These are my contact details.